Chicken is called the safe choice. It's the default protein at every restaurant, every dinner party, every family meal. It's bland, it's neutral, it's what you're supposed to eat when you don't know what to eat. But when someone puts chicken in front of you, your stomach turns. Not because you're picky. Not because you're trying to be difficult. But because something about chicken, the smell, the texture, the very idea of it, feels fundamentally wrong to you. And while everyone else treats chicken like the most harmless food on earth, you're sitting there wondering why this universally accepted meat makes you feel disgusted. The psychology behind hating chicken is more complex than anyone realizes. And it reveals something deeper about how your brain processes food, safety, and even identity. Today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who hate chicken and why rejecting the world's most acceptable meat carries unique psychological weight. The primary reason people hate chicken is actually its greatest selling point, its neutrality. In psychology, there is a concept called stimulus generalization. Because chicken is everywhere in nuggets, soups, salads, and sandwiches, it becomes a background flavor. For people with high sensation-seeking personalities, this neutrality feels like nothingness. Their brain doesn't receive a dopamine reward from the flavor, so it begins to fixate on the negative aspects instead, like the texture. When the flavor is boring, the brain looks for something to complain about. Suddenly, you aren't tasting the seasoning. You are hyper-focusing on a stringy tendon, a piece of gristle, or the spongy resistance of the meat. This is sensory hyper-awareness, where the brain rejects a food because it provides zero excitement and high effort. Chicken, when cooked plain, has almost no flavor. It's texturally present, but taste-wise absent. And for people who need food to have distinct assertive flavors, chicken feels like eating nothing. It's like chewing on flavorless protein foam. This creates what psychologists call sensory deprivation aversion. Your brain expects food to provide sensory reward, flavor, aroma, and satisfaction. When chicken fails to deliver that, your brain registers it not as mild, but as wrong. It's food that doesn't taste like food. There's also a psychological phenomenon called the uncanny valley of food. Just like how robots that look almost but not quite human disturb us, food that is almost but not quite flavorful can trigger low-level disgust. Chicken occupies this weird space of being sort of savory, but not really. It's protein pretending to be a meal. Have you ever eaten chicken that tasted metallic or like wet cardboard? This isn't your imagination. It's a chemical process called lipid oxidation, specifically known in food science as warmed-over flavor. Chicken is high in polyunsaturated fatty acids. When cooked and then reheated or even just left to sit for a few minutes, these fats break down into compounds that smell like sulfur or old paint. While many people can ignore this, others have a hypersensitive olfactory system. For them, chicken doesn't smell like dinner. It smells like decaying chemistry. If you hate leftovers or find rotisserie chicken smells nauseating, your brain is actually detecting chemical spoilage that others are simply blind to. You aren't a picky eater. You're a human lab-grade sensor. There's also a faint metallic or sour smell to raw chicken that many people don't consciously notice, but your brain does. And once you've smelled it raw, it's hard to fully dissociate the cooked meat from that slimy, bacteria-laden raw state. The memory lingers. Psychologically, chicken carries a heavy industrial weight. Unlike beef or lamb, which we often associate with rolling hills and pastures, chicken is linked to the factory. This triggers ideational disgust. This is when we reject a food not because of its taste, but because of the idea of its origin. The subconscious mind associates mass-produced chicken with crowding, weakness, and uniformity. Chicken is the most factory-farmed animal on the planet. Billions of chickens are raised in cramped, industrial conditions. They're bred to grow so fast that their bodies can't support their own weight. Many can't walk properly. They live in overcrowded sheds, often in their own waste. Even if you're not consciously thinking about this when you eat chicken, your subconscious might be processing it as moral disgust, when your ethical discomfort manifests as physical revulsion. For some, eating chicken feels like consuming anonymous energy. There is no soul to the meat. This leads to a psychological phenomenon where the meat feels unclean or low vibration, causing a physical tightening of the throat, a protective reflex to stop the body from absorbing something it perceives as low quality. And here's the thing, chicken quality has genuinely declined. Factory farmed chicken is often watery, softer, and blander. Sometimes there are woody breast issues, a texture defect where the meat becomes unnaturally hard and fibrous. So when people say chicken doesn't taste like it used to, they're not wrong. Your disgust might be your body's way of saying, this isn't real food. Chicken is the king of inconsistent texture. It can go from dry and woody to slimy and rubbery in a matter of seconds. For people with tactile sensitivity, this is a nightmare. Chicken breast, when overcooked even slightly, becomes dry and chalky-like, trying to chew compressed sawdust. But when undercooked or cooked at the wrong temperature, it becomes rubbery and slippery. You bite down and it bounces back. It feels resistant, almost alive in a disturbing way. Then there's the stringiness. Chicken is a fibrous meat, and when you chew it, it can separate into long, stringy threads. These threads get caught in your teeth and feel like you're eating hair or rubber bands. It feels less like food and more like tissue, which biologically, it is. But your brain doesn't want to think about that. Dark meat chicken has its own texture issues. The meat is softer, almost mushy when cooked. There are veins, tendons, and pockets of fat that create sudden textural surprises. You're chewing along and suddenly hit something slimy or crunchy, or gelatinous, and your brain panics. In the evolutionary past, rubbery or slimy textures were signals of parasites or undercooked meat. While most people's brains have evolved to ignore this, chicken haters have a primal guard that never turned off. Every time they hit a piece of bouncy cartilage, their brain sends a danger signal to the amygdala, triggering a gag reflex. It's an ancient survival system protecting you from a threat that no longer exists. For people who are texture sensitive, including many with ADHD, autism, or sensory processing differences, chicken is a minefield. You never know what texture you're going to get, and that unpredictability creates anxiety around eating it. Here's something that separates chicken from other meats: the fear factor. Chicken is the most commonly associated meat with food poisoning, salmonella, campylobacter. Undercooked chicken can genuinely make you sick. And unlike beef, which can be safely eaten rare, chicken must be cooked through completely. If you've ever gotten food poisoning from chicken or even heard vivid stories, your brain has created a lasting association. Chicken equals danger. This is called learned taste aversion, and it's one of the most powerful forms of psychological conditioning. Your brain is designed to remember foods that made you sick and avoid them. Even if you only got sick once, that neural pathway remains. Raw chicken is slimy, it smells faintly sour or metallic. The juices spread everywhere and require intense cleaning to avoid cross-contamination. Unlike other meats that feel relatively inert when raw, chicken feels active, like it's already in the process of decay. For people with contamination, OCD, or germophobia tendencies, chicken isn't just food, it's a biohazard that requires a decontamination protocol. Hating the world's favorite meat isn't a flaw. It's a sign of a high-functioning sensory system and a brain that refuses to accept the standard option. So, are you repelled by the texture, the industrial aura, or that weird metallic aftertaste? Let us know in the comments. Why chicken is off your menu and what food we should decode next. Thanks for watching Food and Psychology. Subscribe if you want more explanations.